Hey VC, well it's a Friday night and a bit of a first for me. Never done a video on a Friday night before. Normally just got a few family things to do, etc. But just had a terrible 3.5 hour 140-mile journey, and as luck would have it, I've got the house to myself tonight, so I thought, right, what shall I do? Have a bit of something to eat, and after all this sort of recent furore, if you can call the storm in a teacup, about people not making videos on the VC, I thought, well, I'll do that one. Not sure what to call this though, guys. Maybe something like Friday night on the turntable? Unless somebody's already done that one. Only kidding, Brett. Anyway, what I thought we'd do is a straightforward VC video about recent acquisitions, and as I'm doing it, I'm going to start making a bit of serious damage into this bottle of red, which is a nice Fitu. It's a French one, that was, which I picked up last weekend. So if I keep stopping for a bit of refreshment, you'll know why. In the background, you can probably hear David Byrne and St Vincent, Love This Giant. Now, this was a really strange acquisition for me because I'd been looking at the album. I didn't know it was coming out. I'd been looking at it in HMV, record chain in this country, and then it turned up. I think Rob went to see them. I don't know where. He'd just been to see the concert, and then there was a bit of to and fro and people buying the album. So as I've been looking at it, and it was actually only £15, which sounds a lot, but it's brand new, sealed, and it's a really nice package. It's also got CD in it as well. So that was just something that, you know, as I say, there's been a bit of a furore about Facebook and YouTube. My view is, do what you want to do. You know, I prefer YouTube. I love hearing people talk about the music. I love the recommendations, but if you want to do Facebook, do Facebook. I mean, for me, it's something that you do when you've got nothing better to do with your time, to be frank. And I do, and I've got some good friends on there. But, you know, I prefer YouTube because I just like the human element. So, anyway, that's David Byrne and St Vincent. Now, recently, I've been watching people talking about going in Goodwill and picking up cassettes, and that never happens in this country. You can never go in a charity shop until last week. And I went in a charity shop near where I work. I think it was the British Heart Foundation or something like that. And lo and behold, box of cassettes, and most of it was rubbish, seriously. Middle of the road stuff that nobody'd be interested in. And then hiding away in the corner was 3. So the first one is Metallica, No Justice for All. Now I have had this on vinyl. I bought a collection, a metal collection, and put it this way, Harry really wanted the Metallica albums. So we have a bit of a thing where if he's got stuff that I really want, then he'd let me have a really nice collection of Kiss albums. So I felt it was only fair, so I let him have those. But I was really pleased to see this, so I've got to listen to that. And then the Beastie Boys, Licensed to Ill. I've had this album years and I think it's excellent. And again, I can't remember, I think it was LJ, I saw LJ showing this, or a Beastie Boys album. But of course one of them's recently not with us anymore, which is very sad, seeing as he's a young guy, younger than me. And then the final one was Megadeth cassette, Rust in Peace. Again, I haven't listened to this, I don't know what it sounds like. I've never listened to any Megadeth at all, so might give it a bit of a blast over the weekend. So that was a really fortuitous find. And then I think I put a post on Facebook about going to a record fair last weekend. Now, record fairs divide themselves into 2 types in this country. You get the ones which are quite corporate and quite large and a lot of tables, and then you get the other ones which are quite small and maybe only have 3 or 4 dealers there. And the one I went to, me and my wife, my long-suffering wife Julia, who is quite happy to follow me around and do a bit of crate digging herself, so I've been very lucky in that respect. We went to a place, a pub called The Railway, which I'll just put a picture in about now. So that's the Railway pub. As you can see, it's under a viaduct arch in the historic spa town of Buxton. And as I say, there's only about 4 dealers there. And I tend to treat those as if they are record shops which are just there, once only opportunity. So if you go in, make the most of them. And the one in the Railway's there perhaps every 3 or 4 months. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. And I don't want these dealers that take, you know, real tatty copies of things and then expect you to pay £3 or £4 for it. When it's, I like the covers to be good. That's all I can say. So we went along. It's about 45 minutes drive. It was a lovely day, and there was, as predicted, there was 3 or 4 dealers there. One hastily sort of looked through his stuff and realised that he was trying to get ridiculous money for tatty records. Then found another one, and he got a lot of stuff for £3 an album, which I thought was a good price. So started going through. First thing I found was this, John Fogerty, Centrefield. I hadn't heard this album until I went away to Florida, as you know, that's where we went recently. And I got a tape in a Goodwill of this, and only bought it because of the Creedence connection. And I've loved that album on tape, and then to find a mint copy on vinyl was a great start. And my wife Julia found this and said, "What do you think of this?" It's a band called Stealing Horses, and we read it, and it sounds sort of like country rock. But there's this sticker on the front. I said, well, that to me looks like a promo, and turn it over. Lo and behold, it says something in gold lettering which you can't quite read now. It says, can't read it, guys. Oh, there it is. Loaned for performance only, and it remains the property of Arista Records. And there's a bit of a spiel about the women in the band, but it is quite amusing because it says under it, there's a heading called Influences. It says, Kia and Kapana name Aretha and Elvis as vocal influences. Both, though, are also strong admirers of U2, Patti Smith, and artists who can ride. Well, I think, guys, that pretty much covers all the bases there. Elvis and Aretha, you can't go wrong, can you? Well, we gave it a spin through in the week, at the beginning of the week, and it's from 1988, and you know, it's big hair. It is country rock, but you know, I need to listen to it some more because they're a band I'd never heard of before, and we just thought it was an interesting find. I'll leave this one till last. The next one was a 12-inch single from a band called Choirboys. And me and my wife, we saw these at an acoustic festival probably 18 months ago, and we were going to see Hazel O'Connor. It was the one that we wanted to see, and she was just dreadful. So we left her to it, and we went to see the Choirboys, and we'd never heard anything by them at all. And they turned out as a full band. This is an acoustic festival. Often at this place, you'll perhaps just get the 2 main protagonists. But the lead singer, Spike, sat on a stool at the front, and he was totally rock and roll. He had a waistcoat on, black around his eyes, bandana, a big rosette, and what a brilliant acoustic session it was, to the extent that we went out and bought the first album, and then we just spotted this, and we've been waiting for them to come around again. In fact, I was so influenced I actually went and bought a waistcoat myself, which I haven't really worn that much, but it was just it was one of those things where you're not expecting anything and you get everything. So that's the Choirboys, and we really like them as a band now. Then this one needs no introduction at all. Again, £3. Elvis Costello and the Attractions, Blood and Chocolate. Now, I know some people love Elvis Costello. I like him, but I have to be in the mood. And but this is an excellent album. It's early 80s, sorry, mid 80s, 86, and but the condition, and again, it seemed like this chap had just got some. I mean, it's just really clean and shiny. So it just seemed like this chap had got some great stuff in and was prepared to have a good turnover. The next one I found, I think I put something on this about Facebook, was coincidence, Steve Earle, Guitar Town. In fact, the last track on this, Down the Road, could be suitable for Brett's thread about the last tracks on an album. Pardon me, I have got this on CD. I think Brett said it was his favourite Steve Earle album. I'm not sure about it myself. I perhaps like Transcendental Blues better when he was slightly more commercial, but again, country rock, brilliant. I would recommend that album to anybody. The next one was a blast from the past, Lex Fine, and it seemed to me as well that he got a lot of records which were from the 70s, and he picked up a 70s collection, I would have predicted. But I first started listening to music seriously in 1974 when I was 11, and my mum was really encouraging of that. We didn't have a vast amount of money. I don't want to plead poverty, but we weren't rich by any stretch. So a lot of our music came off the radio, or my mum taping it in the day and saying, "Oh, have you heard this?" And I remember one of those songs was Jet by Paul McCartney. She was in the day and had my cassette player and just taped it and said, "Oh, this is Paul McCartney's new song." So, but a band that came out that year and went straight to number with their first single was this band called the Rubettes. Now, these are a really strange group. I don't know even if they ever made any impression in the States or the wider world, but they were like a retro doo-wop band, if you could think of such a thing, from the early 70s when that sort of music really hadn't gone that much. So again, like many of the bands at the time, a lot of songs were written by a songwriting team, but what I liked about this, it's got a song that called Tonight. Again, my wife, I know all the words to that song, which I won't ruin the evening by singing it to you, but the condition is just brilliant, and it's called Where It's At. Sort of terrible English, but it's got the original hatting that was with it as the giveaway. So, at the risk of losing my street credibility, I could go around wearing this, but maybe not. And it's supposed to be a beret, which was the band's trademark, and their big single was Sugar Baby Love, and I remember it being on a programme called Top of the Pops one week and think it was a new release and thinking that was brilliant, and the next week it was number one. So those are all my £3 finds. And the final album I bought from the same seller is another second-hand one in 1974, like I say, when I was at school. Music was very tribal. Cheers, by the way, that's the first sip I've had, that's quite mellow. Music was very tribal, so if you liked David Bowie, you probably didn't like T-Rex, and if you liked T-Rex, you probably didn't like any number of other bands that there might be around at the time, but the sort of more popular stuff, because again, I was only 11, as I say. There were a series of bands, the two bands which were in competition with each other were Slade and Swede. And I was never a big Slade fan. I mean, I like Noddy Holden now as a television presenter and radio presenter, and I love him as a bloke. He's witty and intelligent, but I was never that bothered about the music. Whereas the Swedes, I really did like them. And there was one song that came out that year called The 16s, and me and my mate, he had the single, so we just spent all the time listening to it in his bedroom, and in fact he fancied himself as a bit of a drummer, only he didn't have a drum kit, so he'd set all these boxes from a couple of knitting needles and used to hammer away at these. But anyway, this is the album that I found called Desolation Boulevard, and it's the late Brian Connolly. I think another one of the guys is dead now, but I can't remember which one it is, but Brian Connolly was the main man, and again it's got the insert. And the condition's just outstandingly good. So on RCA, and a lot of their songs I think were written by Chin and Chapman on the Chinny Chap publishers. So that was I paid a bit more for that one, and that was sort of, again, that was £15. But when I bought it, I obviously shelled out a fair bit of cash with this chap, and he says, "Oh, you don't see that one very often." And I've never seen it in this condition ever. So that was the record fair. And the final thing I'm going to leave you with is, if you've seen any of my recent videos, you will know that I've recently bought an 8-track cartridge player, and I blame LJ totally for that. And what started it all off was this cartridge, this 8-track. He had a copy of this Journey, Escape, and I've told the tale before. I've got it on CD and I've got it on vinyl, and LJ had a copy of this, and it made me start to question why we didn't have 8 tracks in this country, and I've obviously researched it and found it to be quite interesting. However, the upshot is that I had to have this, so at some considerable postage cost I have acquired this cartridge, and I really enjoyed listening to it last week. So quite a productive fortnight for me, VC. Hope you're all doing well. I know around the world it's not 8:10 at night. Hope you have a good weekend, and with a bit of luck I might just get the chance to make another video before the end of the weekend. Take care, all the best.